Don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years. It's Parrish. It's Spencer. It's the P.O.S. show on Love Wrestling. Hello, friends. Spencer Love here, Parrish here, and the Australian contingent of Love Wrestling here. It is good to see you guys. I'm half tempted to call this a tag team matchup. We got the Canadians versus the Australians in some way, shape, or form, but we'll see how the show plays out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the P.O.S. show right here on Love Wrestling. Whether you're watching on Twitch, Facebook Live, YouTube, or if somebody decided to illegally torrent us, that's actually a huge compliment. So, turntables, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of our friends in the chat already, so let's give them a quick shout before we say hello to our contributors on today's show. Sandy, it is very, very good to see you. Hello, friend. Happy WrestleMania. Thanks for joining me all too often, in my opinion, for someone who's got such wildly different sleep schedules than I. But of course, if anybody can relate to that, it's the two Australians on the show. And JPJ hopping in. Hello, happy WrestleMania. Happy WrestleMania to you too, friend. It is exciting to see you. And last but not least, at least in this string of shout-outs on the comment side of things, Vanessa, happy WrestleMania day to you too, friend. Thanks for joining me on last night's SmackDown recap on Twitch, and hopefully you guys join her on the variety of shows she's on, whether with Love Wrestling or otherwise, as well as the fine gentleman you guys see here in front of me. Parrish, I'll turn to you first just to give that couple extra seconds for the coffee to kick in for Matt and Josh. How are you doing, man? It's WrestleMania. I can't believe this is now the third year, that you and I have been doing prediction shows for Mania. Time flies when you're throwing watches, hey?
Yeah, and we can thank COVID for running in and screwing up our plans, as we were supposed to do this at Beercade. So
truly the Papa Shango of the whole event.
So a quick plug to our local sponsor of Beercade YEG. Your thoughts and prayers that we can get through this. So I mean, I'm doing all right given the circumstance. As you can see, you can make sure you tune into our Twitch channel as I have going on, but. Yeah, it's Mania. It's Mania Night 1, and it's kind of weird because I don't know about you, but I seem almost divided in which night I'm looking more forward to. So it's like, I don't know. Like it's a weird dynamic, but it's cool because it's like a week straight of pro wrestling. I get to watch it this week. I just watched TakeOver Night 2 last night, so like this is amazing. Like I actually get to watch live wrestling for the first time in a while.
It's such a cliche, but like it truly is for me the most wonderful time of year to be a wrestling fan. And I think that even next year it's going to bump up more and more as we get more of your traditional wrestling week festivities back in. Of course, I've got to give a shout out to a comment like that. That's a real nice one, Sandy. And thank you very much. The #1 Canadian wrestling show. We're on our way to that. So again, before we introduce our other individuals getting in from Australia, when you've got an opportunity to make a great plug, you take it. We are trying to become the actual rated, ranked, and charting #1 Canadian show, at least on the podcast end.
It was a perfect 10.
Exactly. If you guys are looking to help us out, this is the month to do so, because not only is WrestleMania when we're pumping out our most content, but ratethispodcast.com/Love Wrestling CA is the best place to rate us. And not only that, they'll be donating 25 cents per donation, or per rating of podcast, I suppose, to Meals on Wheels. They're a great organization doing great work all around the world. If you're going to rate us, friends, we always appreciate when you would do it, but now would be the best time if you want to not only support us, but a great organization as well. I've stalled long enough, Josh. I've seen you sipping your coffee. I'm turning to you, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm admittedly, I woke up a little late and I was like, I've got somewhere to be. I'm like, when you wake up and you're like, what's going on today? You're a little bit disoriented. I'm like, where am I meant to be? I looked at the time and I'm like, no, I think I can go back to sleep. And then I'm like, no, I cannot. So I quickly made my coffee and here I am to talk about, it is the best day of the year. It's WrestleMania day. As a wrestling fan, there's nothing bigger than WrestleMania, right? It doesn't really matter what kind of wrestling you're watching. WrestleMania is the granddaddy of them all. So it's a good day. Doesn't matter if you're tired. It's a good day.
It's a good day. Yes, it is. It's always a good day when that Canada dude, Andre C, joins us in the chat. It's the P.O.S. show. Woo! I love wrestling. We all do too here as well, friends. Andre, it's always good to see you. And thank you for tuning in on Twitch. We are trying to do a lot more Twitch stuff because we are ever so close to tuning in or turning in. I'm muttering my words everywhere. This is what happens when you've streamed like 10 times in the last 6 days. We are trying to hit affiliate status this weekend. All we need to do is hit an average of 3 viewers. You guys are doing a great job of helping us out there. So continue to stay tuned as we give our WrestleMania predictions. And as our friend, the franchise, Matt Sell, gives his predictions. Matty, it's good to see you. We talked before the show. This is the first time, though, you and I probably chat 24/7. That you and I have like sat proverbially face to face in about 2 weeks, man. How have you been? How are things?
Yeah, good. Just the same old stuff happens over here. Yeah, I work, I parent, I husband, and then I do this. It's all a banging good time. I can't complain. And as Josh said, it's WrestleMania Day. What's to be angry about?
Exactly, my friends. I couldn't agree more. And I do want to start it off here because I know we've all had the conversations, whether on our own individual content or together as well. Sandy giving a quick shout. The crowd is back. I can't wait. Josh, I know you're very, very passionate about the crowd experience, as I know we all are, but give me your thoughts about the crowd being back. What are you expecting? Do you think there are going to be any of the surprises that people are talking about? Like, you know, just the wild examples. Reigns gets cheered. McIntyre gets booed. Do you think we'll see that? Or do you think the crowd's going to really buy in, I guess, the way that we sort of should for this one?
Listen, I am not a big fan of like when crowds like take over matches, you know, when they make chants and all that kind of stuff. But in this situation right now that we haven't had a crowd in literally over 365 days, chant what you want. I just want the crowd to be loud. This could be, I'm not even kidding you. If this wanted to be the worst WrestleMania ever with the worst matches in the history of wrestling, a crowd's there and we haven't seen it for a while, and it automatically makes it better than what we've been witnessing the last year. I just miss that energy. You do feel it even through a television. It's not the same, but you still feel it through a television. You're like, okay, it's WrestleMania. I just want them to make noise. I don't care who they cheer, who they boo, who they CM Punk at. It's just give us a crowd.
Yeah, I agree.
The CM Punk chants would be absolutely ridiculous.
I honestly believe that to start WrestleMania, you should just, I know we're probably going to get Hulk Hogan because he's like the host, right? Is that the thing?
Yeah. We're gonna gloss over that one real quick.
But just give the fans that like first 5 minutes of just letting them do what they want and giving the fans their time again, because we all know that wrestling has been around this entire time. The fans have not. So give the fans that. Let them say whatever they want. And I just think that would be such a touching tribute to the fans and a welcoming back for the fans. I think that'd be a cool sign.
I agree. And another cool one that Sandy suggested that I didn't even think of, I think everyone could get cheered because we missed it so long. Absolutely. I don't disagree. Even through the pandemic in Parrish, I know you can speak to this better than
Hulk
everybody.
Hogan. Let's not cheer Hulk Hogan.
There we go. There's a very notable exception, but everybody for me has done such great work. There really hasn't been anyone outside of individuals like that, or maybe a Jackson Riker that personally I haven't been a fan of throughout the pandemic. Everybody in every promotion, it's not a WWE specific thing. The fact that the wrestling quality we've gotten over the last little bit has been such a high quality despite the lack of fans is very cool, especially when you see how different promotions have approached it, whether it's the Thunderdome, whether it's the Pure Tournament, the Ring of Honor ran that really played to the no crowd. Lots of cool stuff going on in professional wrestling, including tonight's card. Now, before we do that, we obviously have to give a quick shout out tonight. Of course, on the line, the Love Wrestling Elite Championship. Yes, on the line officially for the first time since the Royal Rumble. Parrish and myself tying. We double.
It was on the line at Elimination Chamber.
I was the champion at that point.
Still was on the line.
Okay, fine.
You're defending it. That was on the line.
Okay, I'll take it. You can go ahead and nitpick. It's a rightful nitpick. But
it just
of course
hasn't been defended since the Royal Rumble.
There we are. So very, very excited to have that one back on the line. And again, with the Australian contingent of Love Wrestling here. Before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, I have to give a quick shout out to another great individual, another great group of people. RK Athletics. We'll get to the predictions in a second, but We will, of course, give a quick shout out to RK Athletics. Make sure you're not only following them on Facebook, friends, but Twitter and Instagram and any other social media platform that comes out in the next little bit that they hop on. They can all be found at RK Athletics, just like you see in the comment we've got highlighted there right now. They're doing great work wherever you may be based. If you're lucky enough to be in Edmonton, you can get in on some sweet one-on-one personal training, or you can get in on the online side of things wherever in the world you may be. And in a wrestling specific sense, which I admit you got to go to Rich for that sort of thing. I ain't giving away too much, and mostly because I don't understand a lot on the fitness end of things, but what I do, I have learned from him. Again, give some support to RK Athletics. That is at RK Athletics 1 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll keep the title for now, man. We got to get you back on the show here sooner rather than later. I know you were on the WCSN. Let's get you on some Love Wrestling programming here sooner rather than later. Matt, I'm going to turn to you first. Are there any matches you're particularly looking forward to before we start to break down the card here?
Yeah, there's a couple. Like the triple threat sticks out like a sore thumb. That to me is the rightful main event of the whole thing. Sasha and Bianca, regardless of what the build's been like, I think it's gonna slap. It can't be anything but. Drew and Bobby, yeah, we've seen it before, but I still think it's gonna be amazing, especially opening the show. Everyone, like, they could put on the worst match. It's still gonna be fantastic because people are back, and the setting they're in back in a stadium. It's just gonna be fantastic. They're the three that stick out for me. I'm also looking forward to AJ and Omos to see what Omos doesn't do. To me, that's an interesting dynamic. But yeah, KO, Sami Zayn, look, it's good stuff is sprinkled across the whole card, but the three that I mentioned straight off the top are the three that I'm probably most looking forward to.
100%. Parrish, anything you've got your eye on for tonight's edition of WrestleMania?
Well, I'm interested in all the matches. I think that's the big thing. I mean, even though I've been quite outspoken about how much I don't care about Bad Bunny, there's always something about seeing how a guy does. And I will hold judgment on how he does, but I still don't like the fact that, your Mustafa Ali's, your Buddy Murphy's don't have a spot. Like, I mean, I'm an underdog guy, so for that reason. But at the same time, okay, Bad Bunny, I'll give you the doubt here. I will 100% be open to see what you do. Plus, Damian Priest is going to be involved, and I'm a big supporter of Damian Priest. I also want to see Bobby and Drew. I want to see Bobby Lashley have a Mania moment. I think he is well deserving of a Mania moment. And I watched a thing earlier today about Bianca Belair doing her own ring gear for WrestleMania, starting it at the beginning of April. So I'm kind of curious to see how that looks because, well, I'm a gear guy. So I'm curious on that stuff. But Becky Lynch, is she going to be around? I mean, come on.
That is a question I would love to pose to Josh. Obviously, everybody started to see the rumors coming out yesterday, maybe even the day before, that she was going to appear potentially on SmackDown last night. There was going to be a ding-dong hello segment, all of this sort of he said, she said. Josh, what are your thoughts? Would you want to see a Becky Lynch return if it was maybe this underhyped, or are you as excited as I potentially am, and maybe speaking for the other guys, at the potential of the man coming around once again?
Yeah, I'm excited, but I don't think it's going to happen because she wouldn't tell us like that.
That's a very, very good point.
Becky Lynch is a wrestling fan. Becky Lynch is someone that'd be like, no, I'm not going to tell you when I'm coming back. I'm just going to come back. She's a troll. She did it at Royal Rumble. She's really good at going like this and people just going num 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 num. She knows what she's doing. She'll be back when she doesn't tell us that she'll be back. So that's how I see it. But I mean, it doesn't mean that it wouldn't happen. There's fans, and of course I'd be excited. I like Becky. Although I will say I think Becky, in my opinion, out of the 4 horsewomen, is at the bottom. But that's a conversation for a different day.
Can I second that? I'm going to second that. Josh is on.
I'll argue that one to a T.
I love
You know
Becky.
what? And
I'll argue that one to a T, man.
Okay. Wow. I'm taking myself out of this just so that I can.
No, trust me. I think we'd all love to be at the bottom of the 4 horsewomen. But
it's just
Parrish. Grow up.
What? They're beautiful ladies, Spencer. Come on, we're allowed to say that in 2021.
I mean, I can attest that one and say that I wouldn't have that much interest. But hey, it's what I'm excited for WrestleMania is one thing and one thing only, and that is Kay Mella. That is Billy Kay and Carmella, because I believe I put that into existence. No, I'm kidding.
No, you know what? I will vouch for that. If you guys have the opportunity, of course, I suggest following, sharing, liking, retweeting, whatever, for any of the great individuals we got here on Love Wrestling. And nothing warms my heart than people getting to do cool things. Check out Josh's YouTube channel when you've got the opportunity. Of course, after this broadcast finishes, he chatted with Carmella a couple of days ago, and it is number one, heartwarming, because he's just so stoked to do it. But again, he put that one out into the universe. Some great people as well joining us here before I start to give my thoughts and we start breaking down the card. Ditz hopping in. Hey, guys, happy WrestleMania day. I don't know why I enunciated everything like that. I apologize. But good to see you, friend. It was good to see you this morning, and it is great to see you again. Hopefully, we see you back here tonight right after night one concludes. We're going to be hopping on about 5 minutes following. I won't be there, fortunately. I'm going to be tuning in and in the comments with you guys, chatting WrestleMania with another great group of individuals hosting right here on Love Wrestling. And then, Ed, it is great to see you hopping back in. Ed joined us, I believe, for the first time when Tom rated us on Thursday night to join us for the Impact chat. 3 days in a row, man. It is great to see you. Obviously, drive safe, but feel free to listen in on us chatting WrestleMania. I think I echo a lot of the thoughts that you guys had, and it's pretty nice that everybody has different favorite matches or different matches that they're most looking forward to. I think we could probably, at least point out that the build maybe wasn't the greatest for WrestleMania this year. But I also think that if you even look back to WrestleMania 30, like the build for that wasn't the greatest, and it turned out to be the greatest WrestleMania ever, right? So am I going in expecting it to be?
I'm with Spencer. It's one of the best ever.
All right. So that's another debate we can have another day. But either way, one of the greatest Manias ever, I think we can at least all attest to. I've got hopes for this one. Like you say, the environment, with the fans being back, I think everybody will have that little bit of extra fire behind them. And the card
and
itself.
That set, by the way. Aesthetically, it's like, we're there. We're there.
Cannons launching fireworks. I am on record and will stay on record that fireworks are one of the most overrated things in the world, but I'm all about good pyro. It's very different, and especially when they're shooting from cannons. I'm excited about every match on this card in some way, shape, or form. Like you said, Parrish, even the one that maybe isn't the best wrestling match per se on the card when you're looking at Miz Morrison, Bad Bunny, and Priest. I'm excited to see how he does. I've got a lot more room for celebrity wrestling matches.
I'm happy it's a tag match now. Like, what do you think?
I agree.
Like, are you happy it's a tag match?
I really agree. Well, and if we want, let's even start with that match as we start to break down the WrestleMania card here. I am very happy it's a tag match. I just noticed I spelled Morrison wrong, so damn it, I'm going to take that banner down. Morris,
get better, Spencer.
I try my best.
No, put it back up. Come on, do it.
Yeah, brought it back up. Yeah. Look, you can edit on the fly.
Not even a Doors fan, are you there, Spencer? Can't even spell Morrison.
Okay, hey, it wasn't. I've said it before. It's not funny. If it wasn't for accidents, I probably wouldn't be on this planet. But when it comes to this match, like you guys say, I'm very excited on just the curiosity factor, just to see how Bad Bunny does. It was limited, but he took that guitar spot well. He delivered that guitar spot well when he hit Elias with it, and that splash wasn't all that bad when he did it at the Royal Rumble. Right. So again, it's with the caveat he's limited and new, but I have been I've had lower expectations for celebrity wrestling matches before, and I'm excited to see where this one goes. I really hope they
lower
make
expectation in Nia Jax matches.
Hey, be nice. We're preaching positivity. I'm really hoping, and I've talked about it a couple of times this week, I'm really hoping that this does start to at least lead to a Miz Morrison breakup angle, and not because I necessarily dislike what they're doing. I just think that the both of them are primed for singles runs at this point. They've got the opportunity for descent. They can still even build off that Money in the Bank stuff that was coming up even prior, where they teased the tension after Morrison potentially going after the championship if Miz won it, all of that sort of stuff. And then a major loss to, again, a guy that you could play off, any celebrity in professional wrestling. You lost to Bad Bunny. How could you do that? You lost to Snooki. You lost to Lawrence Taylor, anybody appearing in their first match, right? You can play that. You can use that as a tension builder. And hopefully for me, kick these guys into, I hate the comparison because it always seems like you're talking down on the titles, but like kick them into that mid-card feud for the IC championship or the US title if one of them moves over. I think there's a lot of room for that sort of stuff coming out of this, and especially when you've got someone like Damian Priest who can come out of it looking like a star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Parrish, I'll move to you next if I can.
Yeah, I think too when we compare, first matches, I thought Lawrence Taylor was actually excellent, but I mean, a lot goes out fantastic. A lot goes out to a guy like Bam Bam did for Lawrence Taylor, and I think what we're gonna see is we're gonna see Miz and Morrison actually shine the most out of this match. If you're an actual true technical wrestling fan, if you're a fan, you're gonna love just the overall visual. But if you are an actual wrestler, you're going to appreciate the job that Miz and Morrison does tonight, because the better Bad Bunny looks is a good reflection of who he's in the ring with. And I believe Miz is super underrated with how good he makes his opponents. Morrison is super underrated with how good he makes his opponents. And I think Damian Priest is underrated with how good he makes the people around him as well. So I think this is a match where Bad Bunny is actually in a perfect scenario to look like $1 million. And I think the better the Bad Bunny looks in this match, the better the other three also look. I'm flat out going to go with my prediction is going to be a top rope splash from Bad Bunny onto The Miz. And then that's my prediction right away. I'm getting that out of the water. But I'm very, very curious to see on the story told in this match, because first matches are hard enough. A story being told in a first match and doing it well, man, that takes a lot of talent on the performer.
Yeah, all excellent points. Matt, I'm going to ask you for your prediction first, because I've got a different question for you here rather than, who do you want to see win and why? Give me your prediction, but then what I want you to do, book how Miz and Morrison could win this match for us.
Well, I'm agreeing with Parrish. Bunny's going to pin Miz, and I'm fine with that. There's going to be in my opinion, there needs to be two sides to this match. Bunny's not there to, they want him to look good, but overall, this is all about using Bunny to elevate Priest, which I think after Mania they will then do. Miz and Morrison, I think this has to lead to a breakup and a feud, and then, do what they have to from there. The only way you could book Miz and Morrison to win this is Bad Bunny's sort of what's the word? He's not a veteran. He's it's his first match. Maybe he's
makes a mistake, slips up.
Overruled by
rookie mistake.
Yeah, rookie mistake. Exactly. Gets overruled by the situation, does something silly, and then they roll up Priest or something along those lines. That's probably the only way I can envision Miz and Morrison winning, but otherwise I just can't see it happening. This has purely been set up for Bunny and Priest to win. Bunny, everyone's going to look good in this match, I have no doubt. Miz and Morrison are complete pros. Bunny is set up to get the pin. Miz probably makes the most sense to get pinned. And Priest is going to come out of this looking like a superstar. And as Perry said before, I'm so glad this is now a tag match rather than just a singles.
Right.
Can I ask one thing? Do we know if Bad Bunny is going to stay with WWE after WrestleMania for a little bit or not?
I really don't, and that's something I was going to pick up on, actually, oddly enough. Great minds think alike, Parrish. We're even finishing each other's sandwiches. But a couple shouts I want to get in the comments.
Don't share food.
I do want to hop back into the comments because there are a few people that are not only throwing out some great conversation topics, but also just had a couple of points here. Yeah, Sandy, I'd love to see it too. You talk about great entrances. Bad Bunny entering with his Bugatti would be absolutely fantastic. The Canadian Goose hopping in, stoked for the show. Hopefully it rocks and everybody makes it out first and foremost. We want to give a shout out to the Canadian Goose. He's going to be hopping on the post show a couple of times here over the next little bit. He's going to be hopping on pre-shows and everything in between. A great individual. And a quick shout out if you want to hop to ProWrestlingTees.com. He's got some merchandise available there that I would highly suggest you do. It looks cool as shit, and I like that. And then, of course, all hail the recent Quizplex champion, Reson Wrestling. Hello, all. I agree with Parrish. Bunny is going to do a crazy move and pick up the win. I'm tempted to go that way. But the question I want to pose to you, Josh, is again a different one. So give us your prediction and then answer the question. How would you feel if Bad Bunny turned heel and cost Damian Priest the match? That was my reaction, but I'm just here to throw stuff out there. I'm here to moderate and pick brains.
I'm with Bad Bunny winning. I think that's just the nature of celebrity matches, which, by the way, I am 100,000% for. Celebrities in wrestling are just do it more, and especially when they give a damn. That's when I like celebrities in wrestling. And when they're trash, it's hilarious. So I'm all for celebrities in wrestling. But yeah, Bad Bunny will pin the Miz, do something like some kind of splash, like Parrish said, and that will be kind of how it goes. And no, that's not going to happen. So I'm just not going to even comment.
I also want to point out if Bad Bunny pins the Miz, he would have beaten a world champion. Just saying.
Does that put Bad Bunny in line for a title shot? Stay tuned for the upcoming Love Wrestling reaction.
I will say, I agree 110% with what Josh said. Celebrities have always had a place in wrestling, but they are, and when they're trash, as Josh said, they are hilarious. It's super fun. But in Bad Bunny's case, he is such a fan, and everything I've read, heard backstage, he gives a crap. He gives a damn. Yeah. He wants to be there. He wants to do the work. And, that makes people want to do things with you and actually care for what they're doing with you. So that's why I think this match will be a success, regardless of what people think about it. But yeah, it'll be fun.
I just want to quickly point out, okay, so I don't know. Is everyone older than me? I don't know. Am I the baby of this?
Yeah,
I'm the baby of this. So
She's way older than all of us.
I'm going to talk to you guys. I'm going to talk to you old men about a little thing called TikTok. All right, guys. So TikTok is this app. TikTok is this app where you can, of course, share videos to everyone in the chat that doesn't really care about TikTok. Just hold up. I'm getting to my point. There's a little thing you can do at the moment where you can create little graphics with there's Randy Orton and Sasha Banks, and you can do a moving graphic thing where you're in it. Well, Sasha and Bobby and Randy are all there with 900,000 views on their thing. The Bad Bunny one has 7.2 million as of last night. So there's a reason why Bad Bunny is drawing in people to WrestleMania. WrestleMania is built on different kinds of matches. They're built on really exciting wrestling it's designed to steal the show. They're built on the money main events like your Drew Bobbies, and then they're built on attractions. This is an attraction. It has a place on Mania. It will have forever. For as long as WrestleMania goes on, there's always going to be attractions.
Now, this works perfectly for me. And I'm going to tie one in real quickly here, and then I'm going to give a quick shout to the Real Canadian Goose in the comments. Well, honk, honk, honk. My prediction, so you mentioned that the celebrity involvement in Bad Bunny specifically, with those numbers, that for me is why I'm still going to predict the Bad Bunny and the Miz win, or Bad Bunny and Damian Priest win, excuse me. But I think that Damian Priest is going to be the one to pick up the win, because having that happen when you potentially have that many Bad Bunny fans, not 7.4 million, but I'm certain more than 2 or 3 Bad Bunny fans tuned into WrestleMania who might be getting that first experience with Damian Priest. At the end of the day, whether Bad Bunny sticks around long term, whether he does, another month, he loses the next, whatever it might be. At the end of the day, the goal should be to make Damian Priest look great, because I would have to assume he's signed for a year or 2 years, 3 years. So giving him that win, I think is much better in the long run. So I do call the same match result. I'm just calling Damian Priest picking up the win there. Now, I'm going to give a shout out here to the Canadian Goose, and admittedly, just in the interest of moderating the comments, someone write this one down, because I think this is a great topic for our Sunday brunch tomorrow morning, taking place at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Who do you think would win a Royal Rumble made up completely of WWE celebrity guests? My money is on Kermit the Frog. Great shout. Great show. Kermit the Frog is
Snooki.
an all-time great guest host. Kim
Snooki,
Kardashian.
Snooki.
I'll keep the WrestleMania theme going. I'm gonna go with
I'll go
Kim
Snooki.
Kardashian.
Snooki is undefeated, I will say. So I'm going to go Snooki.
I'm a Jersey Shore fan,
Undefeated.
so I agree with Josh.
I also
Giddy also
I,
says Snooki. She's a Snooki fan. So everyone say hello to
I
Giddy,
also,
everyone. Cat.
Hello, Giddy.
Kermit can't be eliminated because he doesn't have legs. That's unfortunately an excellent point, and why I believe
Because
you.
Head lost a match because Jerry Lawler put a thing of Head and Shoulders on there. So there's still a way to beat him.
An absolutely fantastic one. And again, I'll take the opportunity to make a cheap plug when it makes sense to. Tune in tomorrow morning. We're going to be right back here on Twitch, or I guess afternoon, depending on which part of the country or time zone you may be in. But at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, we'll be back here with Love Wrestling Sunday Brunch. And then a couple hours later with Night 2's edition of the P.O.S. show. I got a feeling we're going to go over our match time here, guys, because we're halfway through. And we have one match off.
It's Mania. We can make an exception. It
That's
always goes on longer.
What I do
Mania
think
normally
we
goes
should
for like
know-
7 hours anyway, so what does it matter?
A very fair point. However,
Well,
I
for
do
three
think
when
that
it
we should,
shouldn't.
We're not
we
here for
should
7 hours,
maybe-
just FYI.
we should maybe bookend this one with one that I think can be a shorter match, both to talk about and in terms of how long I think the match itself is going to go. We got a steel cage match between Brain Strongman and the best in the world, Shane McMahon.
Any match I don't care about. Don't ask me my opinion because I'll get fired up.
Josh, what are your thoughts? I'm going to turn to you first on this one.
It's the only match of the two nights that I really just don't care about. I don't have problems with WrestleMania builds. Everyone says about builds. It does not bother me. It's WrestleMania. I get my own excitement. I'm a very optimistic WWE fan. I understand that. I look at it a very different way with the amount of wrestling that we all watch. But it's just dumb. There's no explanation of why this is happening. I'm not very, I don't need much. I just need something to make a little bit of sense and I'm okay. It's come out of the blue and it's like, why is he stupid? And why is he a literal train? I don't understand why this man is now a train. I don't get it. I don't want to understand it. Choo the F-U-C-K off. You know what I mean? I'm just not into it. I'm not into it at all.
Shane chose him. It's okay.
I want.
There's a
I want.
picture of a train.
Well, he is a train. He's literally a train. So I want the train to come out when Shane McMahon is wrestling and throw him into the ring somehow. The ring implodes. Braun Strowman picks up the cage and Shane rolls on out and he wins. That would be my that'd be my only way I could get it's the only way I could get interested in that. That is my. I'm going to be. I have people here for WrestleMania because Australia, we can have people in our house. Calm down, everyone. It's. I'm just going to make a snack. I'm going to be like, anyone want some food? I'm going to go to the toilet. It's just going to be that for me.
You want a fillet? I've got the time to both cook it, let it rest,
you want a 3-course? Do you want a steak? I can cook you a nice steak. I'll happily get out of the room for this one. It's the only match out of everything on WrestleMania that I don't bloody care about.
Just make sure your guests chew their food.
How do I leave this?
I don't care. That was funny.
It's okay. We have to bring him back.
We have to. He's contractually obligated or some bullshit.
Josh, we booked you for an hour. We're getting an hour. Well, and Spark and Friends hopping in. Obviously, the handsome Zach has to take a couple of pokes at me. This is a feud built around being dumb and around dumb things. So let's talk about some dumb things. Not to derail the conversation too much, but I'd like to know how excited Spencer is for WrestleMania fireworks. Look, fireworks might be the most overrated thing out there. Really, I had no issue with no pyro when they were doing it for the few months in WWE. It doesn't add that much. Whenever I go to a fireworks show for Canada Day or any other holiday in which fireworks are a big part of it, I just don't get the point. You know what I could be doing rather than standing, hurting my neck, craning my eyes to the sky to watch these stupid same 4 colors I've watched for the entire 29 years I've been on this planet? Literally anything else. You show me a good fireworks show, and I will show you a bad game of chess, because those are equally entertaining as far as it goes for me. As far as this match goes, you know what, Sandy, you're close here. Shane won't jump off something high. Braun's not going to win, but Shane will go off of something high. My prediction is that they're going to do something very, very similar to whatever year it was that Braun wrestled Kevin Owens at Hell in a Cell, when Braun and Kevin were climbing, and Braun threw Kevin Owens to the outside through the announce table. I think they're going to do something very similar. They're going to be battling it out at the top of the cage. Braun just will heave Shane McMahon through the announce table to the outside, which it ain't a win. Certainly is going to hurt, and you ain't winning morally as far as it goes on that end. But I think that constitutes a win, and therefore I have to call Shane McMahon as my winner tonight.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because I was like, well, that, yeah. See, like, I don't know, like, to me, like, if you wanted Braun to win this match and still needed Shane to do his, hey, look, I can only do one spot, and that's jump off really tall things because my punches look terrible, then why not just make this a Hell in a Cell match? But at the same time, like, I just, there's nothing that makes sense in this match. Like, nothing. Because Shane can't do his only one thing that makes him look good without winning, and I just don't understand why Shane would need to win this match. Like, I just think it's so pointless. Like, Braun would just look like the provable, who gives a, you know what, if he loses to Shane McMahon. Like, who's going to buy Braun Strowman after you give him a train stupid sound during his match, and then he loses at WrestleMania in a match where it's designed for him to win?
Yeah,
like, it makes no sense. Like,
don't disagree, Matty. Sorry, sorry, Parrish. I apologize.
What?
I thought you were finished.
It's a prediction show. I got to give my prediction, Spencer.
And I apologize. Spoiler: I talk too much sometimes.
Prediction, we know. But no, we both do. Anyway, no, I think Braun's gonna win this match. But I do think Shane's going to do something stupid in this match. Maybe it's a corner-to-corner spot on the cage.
That'd be very cool. Very, very cool. Maddie, I'm going to move to you in a second, but we've got a couple of comments in here as well. Of course, got to give a shout-out to Real Canadian Goose. I actually really like watching Shane McMahon. The report card segment was undeniably terrible. I don't think anyone would argue that. But WrestleMania is all about spectacle, and Shane McMahon wrestling is always a spectacle. I agree. You know, and in the match itself, there's going to be something that at the end of it, there's the holy shit moment. And I'm okay with that, as long as this isn't a half-hour wrestling classic. I'm at least optimistic that this will deliver. You know what I mean?
I'm a Shane McMahon fan, by the way. I have to put that out there. I don't want to just crap on something to crap on it. I like Shane. I don't like the train, though. Not a fan of the train. No.
We've also got Joe in here. Shane will jump off the pirate ship, calling it now. Yeah, I don't disagree. It does at least look like it is a possibility based on where the ship is, that you could like climb up the cage and onto the ship. Again, I'm only thinking in the context that like the floor is lava. So
isn't the ship behind the entrance ship?
The weather in Florida at the moment is awful. There's like storms going on, and like there could be a delayed start to WrestleMania, but like I'm talking.
So the hurricane is going to be there, is what you're saying?
Stand back. It's wet. It's wet.
I'm upset. I'm upset about everything you guys just said.
It might be no fireworks.
Yeah, it might look like a revolution. It might look like a revolution.
Matty, it's you're up, my friend. We got Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon inside the steel cage.
Look, if I was to book this myself, I would have this similar or akin to the Austin Vince match back in '99. I would have 3/4 of this match take place before the match technically starts. So therefore, you could possibly get Shane going off the top of the cage through an announce table or something akin to that before the match has even started. Right?
That's a good
similar
call.
to Vince did back in the day. He killed himself doing it, but he did it nonetheless. And then once you've got all that sort of stuff in, you can get in the ring, and then whatever happens from there is fine. Moving forward, Braun should win, especially if they've got any sort of plans to, elevate him back up to where he was, this time last year. His Universal title run wasn't great, but excuse me, but at least he was there. So if they're going to build him up to back to anything close to that, he needs to win. So I think there's ways that they can book him to win by have Shane do his crazy shit. I'm going to go Braun, not with any great certainty, but I'll go Braun. Shane will do something stupid. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Beauty. Sounds good. Now, Matt, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. Which match would you like to talk about next? And continue on to give your prediction as we run through WrestleMania Night 1 right here on the P.O.S. show. Remember, friends, if you want to show some support for Love of Wrestling after this stream is over, even if you want to take a second and do so during, as long as you come back, you promise, please feel free to do so in any of the social media links below, or support Love Wrestling CA on pretty well any of the social media platforms you don't see listed below. We only have 200 characters that we can type stuff out, but we got a lot more social media platforms than that. Feel free to support wherever it may be. Give a like, a share, a follow, a review, a subscription. But most importantly, and the thing that we would really encourage all of you guys to do, is stay tuned here on Twitch, or move over to tune in on Twitch. We're trying to reach affiliate status by the end of the weekend. We're getting closer and closer to doing it. So if you're able to support over there, feel more than free, but just support how you guys feel most comfortable doing so. It's always appreciated. It always is fantastic. Matt, feel free to pick. And then Sandy, I see your comment in there. We'll talk about that if it's not the one that Matty Ice picks coming up here.
I am super interested in the New Day versus Styles and Omos.
Sounds great, my friend. That's a good one. And then Sandy, like I said, we'll be talking about your match in the comments there next. I just don't want to take that opportunity away from a guy I said could pick the next one. Yeah, you're bang on, man. Give us your thoughts.
I'm super interested to see what Omos can or cannot do, or what they choose to have him do or do not do. I'm under no illusion that AJ is going to work the majority of the match, and that's fine, because both New Day members are so good. Like, Kofi and Woods are both so talented, so good. AJ is amazing. I'm just super interested to see whether Omos has got a limited moveset, whether he's only got one or two moves thus far. It's the great unknown in this match. No one's ever seen him do a whole lot. So I'm super interested to see where that goes. I think AJ and Omos will win, and I'm fine with that. But yeah, just so interested to see what Omos does.
Completely fair, my friend. Josh, I'll move on to you next here, friend. That Canada dude, Andre C., you handsome gentleman, thanks for sticking around. Styles and Omos will be winning the tag team championships. Is that a statement you agree with, disagree with, and either way, give us your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, I agree with that. It's going to be Styles and Omos winning. There'd be no reason not to if you're going to have it in this kind of scenario. I think. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for something else. And I know AJ could have been, like everyone was saying, he could have been used a little better and whatever. That's your opinion. But it elevates the Raw Tag Team Championships. And also AJ Styles has never been Raw Tag Team Champion. It's Grand Slam AJ. So I'm excited for it. But yeah, Omos and AJ 100% are going for the W here, in my opinion, or AJ style, as you like to put it in the banner.
Okay, come on, guys. He's the number one. He's got great style. I'll try and pseudo defend myself on this one. But B, again, sometimes I just screw up here on the streams, and I'm gonna own that one. AJ, if you're tuning in, I apologize. It by no means is intentional, and in fact, I think it's complimentary. You're looking good. Parrish, you're a tag team wrestling fan, to say the least. Give us your thoughts on this, because it is fairly unique in that you've got 1, 2, 3 super established talents, and then, like everybody said, a bit of a wild card in Omos.
Well, what I like about the Omos AJ Styles scenario is that we get to see AJ kind of have a post. And what I say about post is you get to see him kind of do more flying and high flying moves if he gets to use Omos to his advantage. Omos can do the power, AJ can do the speed, AJ can do all the bumping while Omos looks very strong. It's very similar to an old school Shawn Michaels introducing Diesel aspect in this match. And I actually very much like the two. I was thinking that it would be very cool to see AJ Styles jump off Omos' shoulder with one of the New Day members to do a Styles clash. I think that would look phenomenal, and I'm saying that move. But with that being said, we've seen Xavier Woods defeat AJ Styles 3 weeks in a row on Monday Night Raw. And I don't know if I want to do this, because this is why I hate the Rumble, because they made their TV look meaningless. But I have a feeling AJ Styles is pinning Xavier Woods to capture the Raw Tag Team titles tonight.
All right.
To me, I'm very curious to see out of the four of these, like we can talk about Omos here. I think this is the one time where I'm actually going to say I want to see Xavier Woods more than any four guys, because we've seen Big E get his kind of time alone now as Intercontinental Champion. They broke up kind of the New Day on the brands to kind of make Big E a star on SmackDown. Kofi had his Mania moment where he won the championship, but Xavier Woods has not had his time to shine yet on his own. And so I'm wondering if this is going to be kind of his big time moment, because the New Day, in my opinion, has never really truly been about Xavier Woods at any point in time. And I'd like to see tonight be that time where Xavier Woods actually stands out and is the guy. Like, he's the best guy. Like, he's had the performance of the night here. And I'd like to see him do well, because he is one of the hardest workers, one of the most interesting guys you actually have on the roster that I don't think gets that credit.
I don't disagree at all, man. And like, even again, it's one of the things that I like the most about the curtain sort of being pulled back on professional wrestling and that side of things. Xavier Woods is just a guy that personally I pull a lot of inspiration from. He is, like I said, Parrish, a super hard worker, and not just in professional wrestling, where obviously you guys can tell he is one of those guys that I want to use underrated as a most positive way I can, in that I think a lot of people know he's a really great pro wrestler. But for me, you're bang on. Like, he's an equivalent guy to a Kofi Kingston and a Big E for me. And they're also two guys I hold as top talents in pro wrestling. I'm so excited to hopefully see that happen tonight.
He got the New Day on Gears of War. That's huge. And that is huge, because I notice a lot. And that's another thing. The New Day gear for Mania is something that is something I want to see.
It's going to be fantastic. Like you guys said, I just hope that personally. Again, because Xavier Woods is just a guy like a lot of the members of the New Day, and frankly, a lot of people in pro wrestling that I can pull inspiration from. It's one of the reasons that I love wrestling. However, I do think that they're going to use this as more of an AJ Styles Omos story rather than a New Day story, for lack of a better way to put it. Not whether or not the New Day wins or loses. I guess. I think that if the New Day wins, they are going to use this to play into the tension. They've built this story around AJ and Omos not being a traditional tag team and not being best friends in the way that the New Day are. So I could see this either leaning into that via a loss, or I could see them like literally standing over as the douchebag heels saying, "Ha, we proved it. We are a team." So I think it's going to be the latter, just to lean into Omos, just to try and make that WrestleMania moment for him. Complete the Grand Slam for AJ Styles, and for those reasons, I think that those guys are the ones walking out as your Raw Tag Team Champions. Yes, Parrish, we are going to take a break here sooner rather than later to, again, if I'm talking about pulling back the curtain, let's reveal the details of our private chat here. However, we've got Sandy.
Exposed, brother.
Hey, man, we've just got to throw a quick shout out to our friend Sandy here in the comments, because not only is he throwing out here Shane the Hurricane Helms at Mania, again, a great joke on your end, Parrish, but he's based over in Germany. That guy's staying up real late to support us over here at Love Wrestling. So before we take that break, I want to make sure that we move on to the match that he wants us to chat about specifically. Let's talk about Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Josh, let's move to you first on this one. How are you feeling about what personally for me has the potential to be the show stealer of the weekend?
Yeah, first and foremost, we've got breaking news. Lightning threat has passed. All parking and gates are open. Fans are allowed back into the to get their seats at WrestleMania. So, hey, there's some good news. It doesn't look like
breaking news from Josh Robinson.
We're back in. We're back in. So,
you guys gotta go. Bye now.
Cesaro and Seth Rollins does, like you said, Spencer, has the potential to be the show stealer of the entire week. It really does have that potential when you look at both men in there. I like the fact that Cesaro is getting a little bit of love, and also it's something different for Seth, because Seth's been in a lot of high profile matches at WrestleMania. In the past, he's won the world championship in what is considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest, cash in ever in wrestling history. So it's exciting. I have my money on Cesaro. I just think it's his time. He needs it more than Seth does. It definitely doesn't hurt Seth Rollins to lose. But what I'm most interested in, other than my prediction and other than the match itself, is what the hell is Seth Rollins going to wear? Because that man's drip. Woo! He makes some bold moves. That man does. I appreciate it.
There as like the least cool, least neat person out there. Me saying the word drip is not something you'll catch very often, but I will certainly use the word drip to describe whatever it is that Seth Rollins is doing, because it seems like it fits perfectly, just like our friend Mags fits ever so perfectly, both in my heart and with the entire Love Wrestling crew. If you guys have the opportunity, and Magsy, I'm just going to throw it out there, you can throw all of your links, all of that sort of stuff in the chat, because this guy is everywhere, both inside and outside of professional wrestling. I would take up the rest of the show if I was plugging all of the great stuff you can catch Mags doing, but I will allow him to do so.
Screw you, Mags.
Well, and I think that might have to do with something with the fact that he's making fun of the first gen iPad.
Come on, this is the brand new. Look, it's got the 3 cameras on it, you old man. You don't know what he's talking about. Damn, Mags. Me and Mags, I'm going to fight that man one day. It's going to be glorious when I do, too.
A show design where Spencer and I were going to battle each other is really turning into quite the civil war now here.
Yeah,
Who would have thought Parrish and I were the ones getting along on this one? Magsy, I'll always throw you the love. I will let Josh read that one because I'm not here for curse words right now.
I won't curse on Love Wrestling because I am a professional little man. But I'll just let you know, Mags, that the feeling.
We'll see you over on Josh Robinson 00 later, where he will be cursing.
Isn't GFY standing for Go Find YouTube, and where you can see Love Wrestling and the P.O.S show right now?
There you are, man. Parrish tying it right in. Huge pop in the comments and on Twitch. Josh, have you got anything else on the Cesaro end of things? We sort of went off the rails while you were talking about it, so I'll let you finish your point if you still have one.
There's going to be a lot of swings. Hopefully there's 37 for, the 37th WrestleMania. It's just going to be a big constant, it's just going to be a good match. There's no way that this is going to suck, because they're two of the best in the world, whether people want to admit it about Seth or not, because people seem to have a hard time with Seth Rollins for some reason. He's one of the best in the world. Cesaro is one of the best in the world. This is when I was talking about like attraction matches and money matches. This is your matches that are designed to steal the show.
110%. Franchise, it's up to you, my friend. What are you thinking on Cesaro versus Seth Rollins?
I'm torn. I really am. As Josh said, this is Cesaro's time. He hasn't had the quote-unquote one-on-one match at Mania. He had a dark match last year, but it is what it is. So I could lean that way. But Seth, you could also argue, needs a win here to push back into the title picture, especially if Roman wins. I could see Roman and Seth doing something, if not immediately down the line, but down the line nonetheless.
I like that. I like that idea.
But WWE's booking suggests that Seth doesn't necessarily need to win at Mania to move on to a title match, similar to like he did last year. So Ideally, I'd love Cesaro to win, and I'll pick Cesaro to win because he's so underrated. He's so good. Both these men are good. But I'll go with Cesaro through no other reason but fingers crossed.
All righty. Sounds good to me. You know what I always appreciate is the fact that Josh Robinson, good friend of the show and contributor here on Love Wrestling, is professional on the air, but also finds a way to get his shots in. Just throwing that one up there. I ain't going to curse, but I'll leave her right there. Much love to the three of us. Mag said before you threw that one in there, but I'm going to go ahead and I see. There we go. That's Love Wrestling booking for you right there. Spin the media as you see fit. Tommy Streamer. Hey, yo. Good to see you, friend. Thank you for tuning in. Great name, eh? Great name.
Bomb.
Putting You Over sent me. Well, if the fine folks at Putting You Over are going to send you our way, then I am hopefully going to send some fine people over Putting You Over's way here sooner rather than later. If you guys are on Twitch, it's a real easy hop over after this stream is done to throw some support to Putting You Over. That is putting the letter U over. They've got a wrestling variety show. They've got everything going on. Vanessa was on last night with me doing SmackDown. Standing Streamer was on the night before chatting all things Impact Professional Wrestling. They are the Seinfeld of wrestling shows. Their words, not mine. They are the wrestling show about nothing. We strive to be exactly like the fine folks at Putting You Over in not only chatting about what we want to talk about in professional wrestling, but chatting about what you guys want to talk about in professional wrestling. Of course, if you guys have thoughts on Cesaro versus Sheamus or Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, I was talking about Riddle Sheamus on a podcast earlier today. Everything's everywhere in Mania Week, guys. It's all over the place. If you guys have your thoughts on Cesaro versus Seth Rollins or anything outside of Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, throw them in there. But Parrish, I am going to move to you on that topic. Who are you thinking is coming out with their hand raised versus between these two men?
Well, I think the WWE Universe is coming out with their hands raised as they see one of the best matches of the night. And yeah. It's only my LA night. Yeah.
You're lucky no one in the chat here is lactose intolerant because that was cheesy.
Yeah, well, they can milk me. So where I'm gonna go. I mean, just from a creative standpoint, I can see so many cool spots in this match. Like, I'm even thinking about Seth Rollins has Cesaro for the curse stomp. As soon as he jumps off, you can get a big European, or he can catch him in a neutralizer. But either way, I think this match is designed for Cesaro to win. And I think this is a match where we're designed to see a rematch. I don't think this necessarily needs to be a one-match end of the thing.
I hope it's not.
They can very much do a rematch down the road. But I do think WrestleMania – the fans, Cesaro section, man, the fans badly have always wanted Cesaro to do well. I think Cesaro's going to get the 1, 2, 3 here. He's going to get his WrestleMania singles moment here. So I don't see how he loses this match because I think this is the greatest time to tease the potential of Cesaro in a world title scenario. I don't think you necessarily have to pull the trigger just yet, but I think you should start laying that groundwork of saying we're actually going to go with him. Seth Rollins can very much get a loss here. It does not affect him at all. He does not. He does not need a W to be a main event guy. But Cesaro needs a win to be a main event guy. That's why I'm going Cesaro.
I don't disagree. I think all of you guys have made absolutely excellent points as far as it goes. There's not really anything. I could talk for hours about how much I love Cesaro, to be quite honest with you. I could do the same for Seth Rollins. The only point that I want to make right here is that I've particularly enjoyed, or appreciated is a better way to talk about a heel with it. I've particularly appreciated the fact that he has stayed very true to the Messiah character, but has also altered it enough so that it's different. You know what I mean? Like, I compared it to Vanessa last night. It seems as though he is more of a cult-like figure rather than a god-like figure. And it's a subtle difference, and as silly as that sounds, but the way that he's approached it since returning, I think has been vastly different, but also stayed true to what he was doing before he left for the birth of his first child. So I've really appreciated it. I don't think that buys him any good faith as far as it goes with his shoulders to the mat. So I'm going Cesaro at WrestleMania. Now, as we mentioned, we're going to take a quick break here. I know that everybody eventually needs to grab a beverage, visit the facilities, or do something that takes a minute and a half. So we endeavor to provide you guys those opportunities here on Love Wrestling. I figured it's WrestleMania. I figured let's bring out the big guns, the big names. Let's bring out great WWE performers speaking about other great WWE performers. So this interview came out last month. It's with TJ Wilson, formerly known as Tyson Kidd by My Money, one of the greatest Canadian professional wrestlers of all time, talking about the greatest professional wrestler in my opinion, Canadian or otherwise. Here's TJ on Bret Hart. We'll see you in about a minute, folks. Speaking of great matches and rarely seen matches, I know you're a connoisseur of both of those. What was your reaction to finally getting to watch Bret Hart and Tom McGee?
Oh man, how cool was that? So
right,
Harry, like people know I have a very good memory. A lot of the people who know me know that I have a very good memory.
Yeah.
Harry also has a great memory too. I don't know why. I don't know why the two of us have a pretty great memory, but he remembers watching that at Bret's house before, and so he kind of remembered. He remembered the finish. And then when I saw the match, like when they showed it to me, when I did that piece on social media, whatever, WWE.com, whatever, wherever they posted it, that was, I could kind of remember watching it at Bret's house, like kind of fuzzy, foggy memory. But man, it was very cool to watch it back and kind of see like what I thought was most cool was that like it lived up to the legend of like this pretty good match that if you later on, and I'm not trying to knock him, but if you watch other Tom McGee matches, they don't look anything like that Tom McGee versus Bret match that we finally got to see. So
yeah,
it holds up to the legend of like Bret definitely did his part that night.
Oh man, and like you say, it's nothing against McGee. It's everything for Bret Hart. Like he could proverbially wrestle a broomstick and carry it to a great match, right?
Unbelievable. I've watched so many. I mean, I watched a lot of his matches in real time, and I've gone back and watched so many of Bret's matches, especially the last. Like I said, my travel is much easier. So with this pandemic, I've watched so many of his matches back, and it's just like, it's unbelievable, man. His matches. I think he's maybe even pretty underrated, which it might be kind of a weird statement to make, but I think Bret might be fairly underrated.
There you go. There's TJ Wilson on the greatest Canadian professional wrestler of all time, Tom McGee. I really, really appreciate having the conversations with him any chance that I have to do. I'm pretty upset, however, that all of you guys no-sold my awesome Tom McGee joke from a second there. So we're just going to gloss right over that one, unfortunately.
That's because the joke of Tom G only lasted a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, welcome back. It is the P.O.S. show right here on Love Wrestling. The prediction or spoiler, the Parrish or Spencer, the pinfall or submission, or hopefully you guys don't dislike us this much, but that P.O.S. can certainly stand true to the initials that many of us know them for. We're joined by the Australian contingent of Love Wrestling this evening for us. This morning,
Union Jack episode, because we've all been a part of a country that has represented by the Union Jack.
And we all kicked their asses out of it. Ha ha! However, we ain't here to talk inter-country relationships. We're here to talk professional wrestling, which to me is the antithesis of positive relationships. It is all about conflict. And in the number one contenders tag team turmoil match, we're going to get a lot of that. We couldn't even take up the whole big bubble with that one. As you guys can see, we've got the competitors tonight scrolling across the screen. The winners of this matchup are going to move on to tomorrow night's night 2 of WrestleMania. They will be challenging Nia Jax and Tamina for
who is
Nia Jax.
Dada?
Pardon?
Mandy and Dada. Who's Dada?
Dana, you know what? Why is this like the correct the spelling mistakes episode tonight? All right. Everybody wants to go ahead. Hey, but I didn't see you go ahead and pick up the phone when I was looking for a producer for tonight's episode. We'll go ahead.
I was sleeping.
We just see Spencer in the background. I beat the smart kids. I beat the smart kids. Oh, I bet my Wookiee.
All right. Excellent references aside. These individuals, whoever wins this evening's
I'm also
matchup,
upset it doesn't say K Mella. I'm upset. It should say K Mella.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. Would you like to hop on and do the edits live and vamp while I do them?
Yes, Spencer. Only I'm allowed to misspell something on a graphic between us.
I'm just here. I'm just here to try my best and have fun, hopefully. anybody watching here, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook Live, is doing so, as I apparently struggle through spelling, but don't struggle to have a good time with some great friends talking WrestleMania. Whoever wins this matchup is going to challenge Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler tomorrow night. We have Carmella versus Lana and Naomi versus Tamina and Natalya versus the Riot Squad versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Matt, I'm going to move to you first, and let me tell you, buddy, as you give your predictions, I am going to be listening ever so intently to see if you screw up a word, somehow do anything along those lines that I can call you out live on the air. Because let me tell you, friend, you hurt my heart. While I'll defend to your death the right to say what you said, that doesn't mean it didn't hurt.
Settle petal. I'll probably stuff up in numerous amounts of times. Yeah, stones, glass houses, all that sort of fun stuff. The way they've booked leading up, I would have said Tamina and Natalya all day long.
Yep.
Something inside me says the team that Josh has put together, Carmella, is there for a reason. And I think they may win, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with any of these teams winning, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of who the champs are. So I think whoever wins this needs to win tomorrow night. But yeah, I'm going to go Carmella, Billie Kay for no other reason that I'm just assuming they've been put in there for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, prior to them going into the match, I would have said Natalya and Tamina, but I'll go with Carmella and Billie Kay.
All righty. Parrish, I'm going to move to you next on this one. Who have you got heading to night 2 of WrestleMania out of the 5 teams we've got listed there?
Well, my money and my heart are completely different things, because I do believe that the one team that does not get enough love and who does probably deserve a win and an opportunity for the tag team title more than any other team is the Riot Squad. I think that not only have they been around the longest, they just don't really ever seem to get the trigger pulled on them. And I think that's a shame. And I do believe Liv Morgan might be one of the most underappreciated characters and personalities they have in this division. But in a way, like I can't help but think that this match is going to go to somebody that we just don't expect. And it's going to be one of those. And I have a feeling that we're going to see Lana and Naomi win this match, and Lana wins the tag team titles tomorrow. I just have a feeling that's where we're going to go. And I think we're actually going to see some amazing blossom between Carmella tonight. I don't think necessarily they need the win, but I think we're going to start to see something. And I think that's going to be a very cool moment because I don't know if there's anybody more entertaining in the female division, or even, well, you know what? R-Truth. I'll put R-Truth in this, but definitely for the women. Billie Kay might be the most entertaining female in pro wrestling, possibly of all time.
You know what? All time is always bold for me, just because it's hard for me to rack my brain on everyone else. But right now, I've got no issue agreeing with you on that end of things. I think she's fantastic. And I think if there's any positive to have come out of the breakup of the Iconics, it is the fact that she's really been allowed to shine over the last little bit. It's no shade to her. It's all the compliments towards Peyton Royce, is that I think that when they broke up, a lot of people saw her as the breakout star. Peyton beat Billie Kay the week after they broke up in that singles match on Raw. And I think a lot of people did see that being the way that things would go. I still think Peyton Royce has all the talent in the world to be a breakout star. But I think, the short-term returns, and even by this point, it's been about 8 months to 10 months to a year. I can't remember right offhand, but Billie Kay has really been the one to solidify her spot as far as that goes. I 100% agree with you guys there. I could see any of these teams winning it tonight. I am going to take what I think is the easy pick, though. Natalya and Tamina have been set up so well over the last little bit. Unlike a lot of these teams, I agree on the Riot Squad being perhaps the most deserving just for their longevity, excuse me. I always pronounce that word incorrectly. That ain't even an extreme specific problem. They've built them up as the strongest team over about the last 2 months. So,
can I just point one more thing?
Only one.
The only reason I'm going with Lana and Naomi is because Mania always seems to have that, holy crap, I did not expect that. I'm comparing this to when we saw Zack Ryder won the ladder match.
Yep.
No one, I think, expected Zack Ryder to win. That's why I don't think anybody expects Lana and Naomi to win. But there's always that one moment in a WrestleMania, it always seems like, or at least every other WrestleMania, and we didn't have it last year, where that didn't see them win. And I think that's Lana and Naomi. I think they're the most forgotten tag team in this match, and I think they're going to pull it out.
Damn you for
really
making
fair
sense,
point.
Chris Parrish.
Damn it, Parrish, making a great point. Josh, I'm going to give you the final word, man. And I'm going to give a quick shout out to your recent chat with Carmella. The other thing that I'm going to do, though, is shout out. As of right now, Real Canadian Goose, what is Bayley doing this weekend? Absolutely nothing. And as Matt said in the comments there, at the moment, nothing, and it's criminal. I think you're bang on as far as saying that. Josh, I'm going to let you pick the ball up there, but then I'm going to let you continue to roll with it right into your predictions on what's going to happen, not only tonight, but obviously leading into tomorrow night's night 2, I should say.
First up, Bayley being not booked on the card makes me just really angry. Out of everybody that held the WWE up through the pandemic era, she was at the very top of that list. And I don't believe anyone deserves anything in life. I believe you earn things in life, and she's earned a spot on this card. And it's just like, you couldn't give it something like a ding dong hello or something with some random legend, just something just to get her on the card. But I mean, I won't go too much. I don't control the show, so I have no control over that. But this match, Lana and Naomi seems like the most obvious choice for me, because Lana's been built with this thing with Nia. They've been the most prominent in the feud of all of these teams. Maybe arguably Natty and Tamina have come into it in the last couple of weeks as maybe a little bit more as a built team, but Lana and Naomi is probably the most obvious choice for me. I'm not going to bet against Billie Kay and Carmella. I don't think it would be possible for me to do so. Billie Kay is my favorite wrestler in all of wrestling. I don't think that's any secret that I love that woman. I just think she's just incredible. It's like anytime she's on the screen, I'm just like, you can do whatever you want. And it's funny. It's funny how your favorite wrestler is someone that hasn't really wrestled a lot in the last 3 months. She's just been on screen. And I just really am a fan of when wrestlers take the 30 seconds that they have on television and they make the most of it. She's Twitter memeable and everyone just seems to love her. And I like Carmella. I think Carmella is probably, not just saying this because I got the opportunity to chat with her and she was a very nice person, but she is one of the most underappreciated talents maybe on the female roster. I genuinely believe that. Carmella does consistently good work. I'm not saying she's the best.
No, I agree with you, though. Like
I love consistency.
Her feud with Nikki Bella, like the first major feud she had in WWE, was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. She was a great Miss Money in the Bank.
And I think worker.
I completely agree with you. All great points, gentlemen. I think that we're in for, again, this could be a sneaky good match. Lots of great wrestlers in that one.
A little bit of a sleeper.
A little bit of a sleeper. I'm always okay with a little bit of a sleeper as far as those sorts of things go. However, as we get closer to wrapping it up, of course, the weight behind the matches gets a little more heavy.
Spencer, you got to predict.
I do have to predict. No, I called.
He said Natty and Tamina. Yeah.
Okay, I called them.
I just want to make one thing, because I've been dying to say this for the last 3 weeks on this thing. We were talking about what Bayley should do. This, I think, would be the best WrestleMania moment right now for the fans. We have a ding-dong segment at WrestleMania, and the guests are surprised by Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, who are there to announce that they are the main event to the next Evolution pay-per-view. That would be one of the best moments I think WrestleMania could pull out in a long time, because Evolution 2 is something that should be happening.
That's another one for the notebook. I like that as another topic for tomorrow's Sunday brunch, which again, of course, if you guys are watching us on twitch.tv/LoveWrestlingCA, you guys can catch us tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, whichever time zone you may be in. Those are the only two I can quickly reference, but the hope is that you tune into that. Tune into our repeat edition of the P.O.S. show tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, and, of course, the two respective pre-shows post-shows, that we've got going on tonight and tomorrow night, covering all things WrestleMania. As I was alluding to, we've got a little bit more weight behind these matches, because I think that every championship match should just be treated as those little bit extra. We've got Bobby Lashley facing off with Drew McIntyre in what has been announced as the opening match of the show. personally, and I'll open this one to discussion with everybody, but if you're not going to main event, that is a great spot for this match. You're going to be the first individuals in front of crowds. I would be shocked if Drew McIntyre wasn't the first person to enter. He's
As
another
he should
person
be,
that,
by the way.
Champions out last, man.
Disagree.
Champions out last.
exactly, for a myriad of reasons, but for me, most importantly, because again, the way we talk about Bayley and Sasha as the MVPs of WWE, and rightfully so, I think Drew McIntyre is another individual who should be rightfully in that conversation, and having him be the first one to get a big crowd reaction. If you're not going to main event, that is the best spot you can get. I'm incredibly excited for this match. They delivered when they faced off in May, I think it was, a Backlash, and I have no doubt they're going to deliver again just because of how hot both of these guys have been over the last few months, There was a little bit of a dip with Drew McIntyre there for a bit. I'll be the first to admit that. But I'm incredibly excited for this match. They've done a great job making Drew a complete and utter threat. I don't really have a better way to put it. And I think he's going to get his WrestleMania moment in front of fans for this one. I can't remember who I went to last year, so sorry if I'm doubling up. But Parrish, you hop on the train on this one. Who do you think is going home as champion between Drew and Bade? And what are your thoughts on the match overall?
Well, I got a 3-step breakdown of this match, and I think this is why I think Bobby Lashley should retain the title. The one thing I hate about WWE that they do sometimes is this hot potato with their titles. Since we've seen Randy Orton win it, we've seen, I believe, 5 title switches, and it hasn't been that long. So if you want to even say within a calendar year, we've seen about 5 or 6 title changes. That's too many for me. To me, that's not how you make a title mean anything. Not to mention, if this match was to go the Drew McIntyre way, he's going to reclaim this title. Not only is that another swap back to him, but then you're almost primed to have Bobby Lashley go up against him again and lose. And I don't think that's smart for Bobby Lashley moving forward. I think right now the best time is to keep Bobby Lashley with the championship. I think the best thing you can do for him right now is to make Raw about him and that championship. And that's going to make that championship bigger. Not to mention, we can then bring, say, a returning Aleister Black or possibly draft Cesaro to Raw and make them instant credible opponents for Bobby Lashley. I don't think we necessarily need Drew McIntyre to win. There is that, okay, he needs his fan moment in front of a crowd because he didn't really have it last year. But I just think we're in a different spot right now where I think if you give Bobby Lashley another roadblock, I don't think it's able, or you're going to be able to recover. Okay. So again, if we open the show with them, Drew McIntyre is winning. If we don't, I believe Bobby Lashley should, and I'm going to stick with that. Bobby Lashley wins this match, and I have a feeling we're going to either see the old recruits or new recruits help Bobby Lashley retain.
Yeah, I could see it because they were very specific in that it's not the Hurt Business Band from ringside. It is Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. I could see it. I could 100% see it, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going all in on Drew.
Why would they say that if they're not using that as a reason for something? Because we saw that with Kevin Owens and McMahon, where he used that exact thing that he can hit a McMahon.
But I think we're gonna get Baron Corbin or something like that. Like it's conspicuously absent again in the way we've talked about a lot of people.
And I think it's gonna be this guy, Keith Lee.
Maybe. I'd love to see it. I'd absolutely love to see it. I'd love to see him anywhere on the card. He could interrupt the Zayn Owens match, and I would be excited about seeing Keith Lee back. But I just think they've built that relationship with Baron Corbin, admittedly only the last 2 weeks, but enough for me to think that he's going to be the guy to attempt to interfere. I do. I'm going to call Drew regardless, though, so that way we can move on to Matt. Matt, what are your thoughts on Drew versus Bade? Big Bad Bob. Robert Lashley. All the other names.
Lashley.
Hello, I'm Robert. This is Robert
as you
Lashley.
stated, we saw this last year, but the difference is Bobby's now champ.
Yeah.
I'm happy that this is opening. Drew's going to get his big grandiose entrance. They're both going to get a big grandiose entrance. But what I think needs to happen is Bobby needs to win more than Drew. You need Bobby to solidify his reign rather than, as Paris said, hot potato it around a little bit. So I think Bobby needs to win and go on a bit of a run, maybe till SummerSlam, somewhere around there. But Bobby needs to win. Both men are going to look strong. I don't subscribe to the theory that everyone keeps saying that Drew needs his in front of fans moment. He won the Rumble, and how many people were there? So he might not have got his Mania moment in front of fans, but he got a moment in front of fans, and that's more than a lot of people got last year. So I don't subscribe to that per se personally. I'm going Bobby, but it wouldn't surprise me if Drew won. Not at all.
Another thing we could see is that even in a loss, Drew McIntyre can get a standing ovation from the fans as a thank you for being the guy when they're not there. And I think that'd be a very touching tribute to the job that Drew McIntyre did if he was to lose this match.
Don't disagree, Josh. I am going to not only let you offer up the last prediction on the WWE Championship, but I'm going to let you lead us into the main event here of night one of WrestleMania. Sasha, Bianca, a match that, I think we've all talked about. And let's give the quick caveat because I'm a big believer in the compliment sandwich theory of things. So let's get that little bit of negative out of the way right off the bat, at least on my opinion. I think that the 3-4 weeks after Fastlane that we saw, they really get into the blood feud of it. The first few weeks following the Rumble where they were going after each other. All of that was fantastic. I was frustrated that they were forced to coexist. But if that's the only complaint I've got, I've been real excited over the last few weeks. I'm real excited for their match at Mania because these are two of the most talented women in the world. Josh, give us your thoughts. Give us your prediction. And because I know that you've got things going on for WrestleMania and we don't want you to not plug your great stuff. How do you ruin a setup, Spencer? Do that. I want you to plug the great stuff you've got going on in the near future. So there are your 3 tasks here. Clear them off, my friend. McIntyre, main event, plug your shit.
Okay, so Drew and Bobby, I think Drew's going to win purely for the fact this is the first match back in front of fans. I think WWE are going to go with the thing. Let's keep them happy. Let's make them as happy as possible. Drew gets that kind of win at WrestleMania. For no other reason, I think that it could easily go the other way. I mean, I wouldn't be mad because Bobby has time to establish himself as the WWE champion. But I think just for that reason, Drew's going to get that Claymore and that place is just going to go absolutely bonkers. And it's going to be, I think, a nice opening to WrestleMania to make us all feel nice. Because, life is about feeling good, right? Isn't it? We don't want to be sent home. So in that sense, I think Drew will pick up the WWE Championship here. Main event. Hoofed. Everyone knows how much I love women in professional wrestling. It's easily the only reason why I still watch wrestling in this after 20 years of watching wrestling. I've always been a fan and wanted more for women. And this is the first one-on-one match in WrestleMania history that's going to be main eventing WrestleMania for the women. They've never done it one-on-one. First 2 African-American women to do so in a match at WrestleMania for a championship. It's pretty cool, just the kind of cultural significance it has, but just breaking it down to pure wrestling as well. The contrast of styles between Banks and Belair. I mean, come on. This is like heaven. It's like silver platter. Here you go. And they have the opportunity. We talk a lot about Cesaro and Seth and Owens and Zayn being like the great wrestling matches of WrestleMania. I don't think we should sleep on this being a fantastic wrestling match of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair has come. I don't think there's ever been anyone in wrestling, at least from what I've watched in wrestling and from my memory, I don't think there's ever anyone that has picked up wrestling in the sense of they've never really been a fan of wrestling in a sense. They've never really had aspirations to be a wrestler. And in 4 years, Bianca Belair's become one of the top performers in the company, athletically, character work. I mean, my God, she's a very good character. Great promo. She just has it. We don't really know what it is in wrestling, but she has it. Whatever it is, she has it. She's not a superstar. She's a mega star. This woman is just, and I love the fact that Banks well-earned spot as the main event of WrestleMania. It's starting to break through that ceiling of just a wrestling personality and trying to break into the mainstream with the stuff in Star Wars and all of that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's Banks. Belair's in the spot that Banks was 3 years ago. It's like they're each other. And it's so cool that similar, Banks doesn't want to give up her spot, and Belair is right here to take that spot. And I just think it's a great main event. I know everyone's said about the build and can they coexist that WWE likes to do, but the last 3 weeks has got me sold. And I guess it's not what you do first, it's what you do best, and they've done that best. So I feel like they have done a very good job of building that match in the last 3 weeks, and I'm excited for it. I just think it's going to be a very good main event. I think it's Belair's time. As much as I love Banks, who I love dearly, who's a fantastic performer, I love them both, and I wouldn't be angry either way, but I think it is Belair's time. The main events of WrestleMania, it literally cannot get any bigger. Like, there's nothing bigger than the main event of WrestleMania. It's what every WWE performer wants to be in. They're the main event for a reason. I just think we're going to get the KOD, the 1, 2, 3, and I think we're going to be well on our way to making Belair that next big push through the ceiling kind of star. I think she has that potential. She's just very,
the
very
KOD,
good.
the 1, 2, 3 from the EST of WWE.
Look at
Boom!
that.
We should end the stream right now, but we're not going to do that because we've still got other stuff to do. What we are going to do, Josh, is give you a huge thank you for hopping on the show again, especially when I know you've got so much going on. Like, you were streaming this morning, you've got stuff going on
well, it was
tonight.
last night
and
for me. I mean, to be fair.
Okay, I do give that caveat. I'm very bad with time zones, so how much of a commitment this actually was, just hype yourself up. Agree with me that this has been the hardest work of your life, and we're blessed to have you here.
If there's anyone that's a fan of Josh Robinson, it's Josh Robinson. I love myself very much. I'm not afraid to admit that. You got to love yourself before other people can, right? Isn't that how it works?
So many jokes that can make that, but this is about you.
Hey.
Josh, of course, before you take off, what I'm going to ask you to do is not only put yourself over, but putting you on the spot in the interest of doing different things, give me one content creator that outside of Love Wrestling and the people within it that people should be paying attention to on Twitch, because let's support some great professional wrestling content and the creators behind it.
Yeah, so I'll start with that because I feel like it's more important to talk about other people than it is yourself first, all jokes aside. We gave him a shout out earlier, but I have to Project Ditz on Twitch and on Twitter as well. Me and Ditz have been friends for a couple of years now, at least a year and a half now, and we used to do a show together. We've always kind of been, friendly, and he's a great person, has a lot of great people underneath the Project Ditz banner. But as a Twitch streamer, man, he's just so fun and he's growing so rapidly. And I just can't think of obviously there's other people within the world that I'm like, okay, this person, but for the sake of just one, I just feel like he's someone that you should be paying more attention to. He's doing a WrestleMania watch along tonight, from my understanding. I believe I've seen that in his Discord.
Awesome.
So go and do. I think he's going to get drunk on stream. So that's never a bad time. Go and watch someone get absolutely wasted off their face. It's a lot of fun. So go and watch Project Ditz. He's Project Ditz pretty much across the board, from my understanding. Sorry, Ditz, if it's not all the way, but I know here on Twitch and on Twitter he's Project Ditz. He's a good dude to talk about wrestling with, a lot of fun. He doesn't really crap on too much stuff. He just likes to have a nice time with wrestling. So go follow Ditz. For my stuff, the easiest place to know what I'm doing is follow me on Twitter at @JoshRobinson_00. I'm pretty much Josh Robinson 00 across the board everywhere else. I have a fun YouTube channel. I think I do a lot of different things. I'm always trying something else, seeing what kind of sticks. I'm not really afraid to fail with anything. I just kind of see what works, and I do some cool work on Love Wrestling. I'm the kind of video guy that does videos here on Love Wrestling. So I do talk about women's wrestling a lot. It's just what I'm most passionate about. So if you like women's wrestling, I'm assuming you'll like me. And the only other thing I'll plug is my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Josh Robinson 00. I hang out like 4 or 5 times a week. I'm a pretty goofy dude. I don't mind making fun of myself as long as you're having a smile. I'm not the best at games. I'll admit it. I'm not that great at pretty much any game except for wrestling games. But I play a lot of different stuff, and I just like to have a good time. So come and make fun of me. I like it. I like it a lot.
Don't we all? That's what we all hop on Twitch for. I'm certain that I have been made fun of more than once on here on Twitch. But Josh, it was great to have you. Josh, it is always great to have you here. Thank you for hopping on the stream. Thank you for taking the time, and thanks you for being a friend.
You don't have to blossom to be our flower. Have a great night, my friend. And as always, great seeing you again.
Good to see you, buddy.
Guys. Thank you. Enjoy WrestleMania, everyone.
Bye. You too, man. Take care.
I will see you later, friend. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Josh Robinson. And I know the bias comes across.
And he's eliminated.
In all seriousness, though, excuse me. If you're going to support great people in professional wrestling like we like to do here on Love Wrestling, he is one of the first people I will ever throw out there like he did with Project Ditz as far as great people that I would highly encourage supporting. Like he mentioned, he's on Twitch, he's on YouTube, he's everywhere else that you can possibly find any great content creators. It is at Josh Robinson 00, pretty well everywhere, like he mentioned, outside of Twitter, where it is Josh Robinson _00. Another great human being doing great things in professional wrestling, like the two gentlemen I am now joined with, or have been joined by the entire show. But this fatal four-way has become a triple threat, brother. Parrish, I'm going to let you hop on the main event. Your thoughts?
I'm very curious to see what they're going to do. The one criticism I've always had with Sasha Banks is that I always thought she went farther than she had to, and sometimes could have played it more safe than she does. But I do think she is just an amazing athlete, an amazing talent, and an amazing performer. As I see it's snowing, which is awesome in April. But I think this match is actually going to be very interesting in a storytelling department. I really want to see where they go. Bianca Belair has probably an opportunity of a lifetime tonight. And I don't see them. When I say them, I don't know if WWE needs to necessarily pull the trigger on Bianca Belair right now. I don't think that's the case. I think they will. But just like Asuka against Charlotte at Mania, where they didn't allow Asuka to win the title, I'm looking at that as a prime reason to why maybe Bianca Belair should not win this match tonight. Mm-hmm. Just because if she has one setback, it's not a bad thing, but it makes the time where she does get it that much sweeter. I think sometimes we get caught in the aura of WrestleMania, always having to close something out all the time to where we just can't let things open up. And I think that this story between the two is far from over and does not need to be shut. Yeah. However, Bianca Belair's story right now is just so good that I don't think WWE is going to let her not hold that title up high, pass by on night one, KOD on Sasha Banks for the 1-2-3 new SmackDown Women's Champion Bianca Belair to close out night one is my prediction.
I absolutely love it. Just like I love not only being joined by you two gentlemen, Josh Robinson, who was in here earlier, but I love being joined by great people in the comment section. And certainly that is the case right now. Maggie K hopping in. Of course, I'll read out the comment here in a section. But again, if we're going to talk about supporting great people in pro wrestling, like not only, again, we did with Josh, but we did with a couple of other people earlier tonight, there aren't many better than Maggie out there. There ain't more fun follows out there than Maggie, a great individual doing some great work and just a good person to shoot the shit with. She's watching us on YouTube tonight, so if that's where you guys are tuned into this edition of the POS show, it's just an easy hop, skip, and a jump away to go and give her some support. If you guys are watching on Twitch, you're watching on Facebook Live, it is a couple extra clicks, but ladies and gentlemen and non-binaries, I completely think it is worth your time on doing. The other person that I would like to shout out that is always well worth your support, Sandy, doing a great job. Follow the Alicia Atoot Superfan page on Instagram. Again, not only is Sandy a great individual, I know you guys can vouch for that because he's been in the comments this entire time. Not only that, but doing so from Germany, where it is certainly a later hour than it is for all of us here. But Alicia Atoot, again, one of those people that you will not find many better in this industry of professional wrestling and outside of this industry of professional wrestling. Lots of great people in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. And over on the Twitch side of things, we got Wally the Green Monster. We're getting joined by some great names tonight. Get joined earlier by Tommy Streamer. And if you're still in the chat, thanks for sticking around. And Wally the Green Monster hopping in. Of course, if you guys are in here, we're chatting about the main event of WrestleMania and everything else. Give us your opinions, your thoughts, your anything else. We're here to chat pro wrestling for about the next 15 minutes because, of course, we've got the pre-show to night 1 of WrestleMania starting in about 25. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up my little bit of a ramble by asking the good friend to my right on your screens, the franchise Matt Sell. Matty, your thoughts on the main event to night 1?
Torn. So torn. Bianca's the obvious choice, but Sasha is 0-5 at Mania, I think. Do they run the risk of one of their top women and someone who, along with Bayley, carried them, or SmackDown at least, through the pandemic, going 0-6? I don't know. I really don't know. As Perry said, I don't necessarily think they need to have Bianca win here because she can recover from that. But I think they do pull the trigger, and I don't think this story's done. So I would say Bianca wins, but yeah, Sasha Banks going 0-6 at Mania doesn't quite sit well with me, to be fair. And it's weird. I never thought I would be sitting here saying I want Bianca to win the main event of Mania because when she was in NXT, I was never a huge fan. I didn't gravitate towards her like a lot of others did. But yeah, I've got her winning. I've got her having the visual, holding the title up at the end of it all. That's where I think they'll head with this. Vince has always liked to end his Manias, single night, 2-night, whatever, with the quote unquote baby face, winning or, that ending visual. Sasha's sort of a tweener. Bianca is just a flat out baby face.
Yeah.
I think she wins, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Sasha won either.
Quick
I
point.
completely agree. Parrish, quick point, and then I've got to give a shout out before I let you hop onto your major point, if that's okay.
What does that say about Sasha Banks, despite the fact she's 0-5, that she's still considered one of the top? I'm just saying that's a very good, like that's a good thing to say about Sasha Banks if she's considered to be one of the best, despite having an unwinnable record at WrestleMania. I don't know what the right wording to that is, but
well, I think if she goes 0-6 here, then that's another story they could tell for another year or another couple of years with Sasha.
She could have the new streak of not winning at WrestleMania.
She can then go on to win the Rumble, challenge for the title, and then main event again, and then get
money in the banks. Come on, it writes itself.
Either or.
And there, again, you know what? We're doing some real nice lead-ins for tomorrow's Sunday brunch. But, of course, before tomorrow's Sunday brunch, ladies and gentlemen, all great things must come to an end. And eventually, WrestleMania tonight, night 1 here on April 10th, 2021, will end right after that, within 5 minutes of the closing bell, the closing fireworks, or whatever it may be. Mighty Joe Morin and crew are going to be here on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Facebook Live, chatting all things WrestleMania Night 1, giving their reactions rather than their predictions. We give you the yin. They will be giving you the yang a little bit later on right here, so make sure that you guys tune in, give us a follow. Hopefully, sooner rather than later, we're going to hit that affiliate subscription status so that you guys can subscribe and, again, continue, hopefully, to support the great people that we've got here on Love Wrestling. Parrish, let's hop back to you, though, because, as always, it ain't anything against our good friend, the franchise, Matty Sell, but you and I are the P.O.S. in the P.O.S. show. Give me your thoughts. Give me your final prediction for night 1 of WrestleMania. We got Sasha and Bianca for the SmackDown Women's title. How are you feeling about it?
I thought I did. I told you. Bianca Belair hits the kick because of death.
That's right. Hey, okay. You know what? For what it's worth, this is one where I can afford to take some heat. That's fine. I'm going to close mine out because you guys gave some really, really great thoughts. And again, some very valid arguments, both ways of things. I'm going to differ. I'm going to call Sasha Banks. I think that 0-5, does not become 0-6. I can't see them switching both major titles on the same night. I know they just did a takeover, so don't get me wrong, but do I think they'll go 4 for 4 over the next little bit? I really don't think so. One of them has to retain, whether it's by hook or by crook. I brought it up the other night on a podcast, but potentially you could see a reunion of the golden role models. As far-fetched as it might be, when Bailey's not booked, you got to find some way to get the greatest role model you possibly can on the card. Matt, things are getting later for you or earlier for you or wherever you may be. You're on the different time zone than us, so I can't claim to know anything.
It is Sunday brunch for Matt.
Exactly. I'll let you hop to the family stuff here as we close out the stream, my friend. Let people know where they can find you online and where they can keep track of your content in the near future, whether love wrestling or otherwise.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter, which is normally down there somewhere, but it's got the SmackDown Women's title thing right now.
PG show, Matt.
There it is. There. That's my Twitter. You can find me there. All my links are on there, my YouTube, so on and so forth. I'm just me. I'm here. I'm also here. War Report every week with JPJ. That's always fun. And I'm back for night 2 post show for Mania. So that's where I'll be.
110%. Sorry, I was aiming to click the wrong button there. Parrish. My nemesis, my friend, my nemesis, my friend, my compatriot, and my greatest enemy sometimes.
Holy!
And unfortunately, the sole reason that I am no longer your Love Wrestling Elite Champion. Hopefully that changes tonight, but until it does, Parrish, not only are you not only the Parrish in P.O.S., you are the spoiler as far as my title reign goes. I just had to throw that one in there. Before I let you plug your social media, here's your chance.
Let's go,
where can people keep track of you, friend?
As my Twitch is right there, because I'm dyslexic apparently. At the Chris Parrish on the Twitch, as you are watching my stream right now, right there. I'm active apparently, but you can also get me at Chris Parrish on the Twitter, at Chris.Parrish on the Instagram. I do have a Facebook page. Hit me up as a friend, like my page. But also make sure that you visit lovewrestling.ca for all things wrestling, because let's face it, we are taking over and we're not even NXT. So that's where you can find me. Spencer, back to you.
Thanks, Parrish. It's always nice to get the segue back into things. Friends, thank you for tuning in to the P.O.S. show. Hopefully, those are some initials that you can get behind for a variety of reasons, other than, again, the traditional reasons you do hear them said. I have been Spencer Love. I have thoroughly enjoyed chatting with a couple of great friends and great people in professional wrestling, and would love if you guys would continue to do so with me. You can find me, as mentioned, in that little thing right there on the Twitter machine. It is at Spenny Love. I love chatting pro wrestling, as I mentioned, so feel free to tweet me, DM me, let me know your thoughts on tonight's WrestleMania and anything in between over the next little bit. However, if you want to continue to support Love Wrestling, not just myself or potentially everyone else but myself that's on the site, that's completely fine, but there are a couple of specific ways that you guys are able to do so. The most big way, I suppose, that you can over the next little bit. We've got a goal of becoming the #1 podcast in Canada. We've hit as high as number 9 before, so we really think that it's something that we can potentially do. If you guys want to head to ratethispodcast.com/lovewrestlingca, not only will it help us bump up in that all-important Apple algorithm, but it will help us and Meals on Wheels continue to receive some cash. That was worded pretty poorly, but it's a great cause. Podchaser will be donating 25 cents per review placed through ratethispodcast.com towards Meals on Wheels. They're a great cause, doing some great work for some people who do really need it. So please continue to support on that end of things. The other thing that would really help us out, if you guys would want to, we're trying to reach affiliate status right here on Twitch. So how can you guys continue to support us on there? Well, the same way you guys have done so enthusiastically here today. Tune in following tonight's WrestleMania Night 1, tomorrow for Sunday Brunch, the POS show, or our post show following Night 2. All we need to do is average 3 viewers per stream over the next little bit. So if you guys are going to choose to tune in to Love Wrestling and any of the shows we've got going on, that would be the place to do it. It would be thoroughly appreciated. We're always appreciative of any support you choose to show us. But if we can be so bold to ask specifics, that would be one great way to do so. And if you guys want to get your hands on the first official t-shirts that Love Wrestling has to offer, there the link is lovewrestling.ca/shop. Not only will you be able to get the official collaboration with Sea of Dead that we will be putting out in the next week, but you'll be able to pick up a mask, you'll be able to pick up some stickers, and stay up to date with a lot of the great stuff we've got coming up here in the next little bit. Guys, it's been fun. I cannot tell you how appreciated it's been chatting with both you, Matt, and you, Parrish, live and in the flesh here across a variety of platforms. We're bad, we're nationwide, and in order to pay back a great individual who's helped us out a lot over the last couple of nights, we will be raiding Tom Collahue. I am going to be starting that raid here in a second, so I'm still not certain. So if it does cut us off when I hit the start raid button, thank you guys for tuning in. If it does not start that raid once I hit this start raid button, well then, I'm going to vamp. I'm going to continue to thank you guys once again. And I, on behalf of Matt and Parrish, am going to hit our music and say, see you later.